Part one of the speaking section is where you'll want to make sure that you get the speaking section off to a good start. So you'll want to feel relaxed and confident as you meet the examiner for the first time and answer the first set of questions, and you'll want to carry this throughout the entire 15 minutes of the speaking test. So let's get started and find out just how you can do this effectively and have success. First of all, just to let you know that the speaking part one is about 4 or 5 minutes. And you're going to be asked a few questions, 4 or 5 questions at most, about you and your life. So this is one of the first places that you can relax and begin to just talk about you and your experiences. And actually, this begins even before part one begins, because uh, before the test begins, you'll actually meet the examiner. It may be when he comes to collect you and bring you to the examination room. And this is where the conversation may start and you start getting warmed up. He or she may ask you a couple of questions on the way to the room. And then once you're in the room, the examiner is going to just ask for your name and your identification. And then the exam will start. And you're going to begin answering questions about you and your life and your experience. And what's important to realize is that what's being measured is your language skills, not the content of your ideas and your thoughts and your feelings. You're not being measured on who you are or what your life is like. You're just being evaluated on your ability to simply answer questions that are very common to your everyday life and experience. So relax, get comfortable, and actually enjoy speaking to the examiner, because the examiner does have your best interests at heart. The purpose of the examiner being there is to help you do your best and express yourself as skillfully and successfully as you can. So this is really important. In speaking part one, you're going to want to speak in a very natural and relaxed way, just as if you're speaking to a friend. So it's very informal, and you'll be able to use informal expressions and sentences and vocabulary. So make sure as you prepare for speaking part one that you don't try to memorize or come up with uh, set answers, because these will come across very artificial. And here's the problem with memorizing answers ahead of time and using other answers that maybe you've seen in templates or practice questions. The problem with these is they're not your answers. They're somebody else's answers. And once you try to memorize or use other people's answers, that takes away from being very natural and relaxed. And don't panic if you're asked a question that you don't seem to know the answer for right off the bat. One of the most important skills when it comes to speaking is actually listening. So as you listen to the question, make sure you're clear on what you're being asked. And if you're not clear, it's okay to ask the examiner, could you please repeat that? Or say to the examiner, I'm not sure what you mean. Could you ask me that in a different way? And you can do this one or two times throughout the speaking section, and you will not lose any marks for this. So make sure that your approach, especially to speaking part one, is to speak natural and relaxed and share your own experiences, not someone else's, not memorized, just spontaneously. And don't panic if you don't know the answer. Just ask the examiner to clarify and answer the question. Each of your answers to these questions should be 2 or 3 sentences long. You don't want them to be too long. You don't want to ramble on, and you don't want them to be too short. The problem with trying to say too much is you end up saying things that aren't relevant or appropriate to the question you're being asked. It may sound like you're just trying to add information to impress the examiner, and this is not what the examiner is looking for. The examiner just simply wants you to answer the question in 2 or 3 sentences and stay on topic and stay relevant, and even use vocabulary that's relevant to that question. So again, you don't want to try and memorize fancy words or academic words, because if you use these words incorrectly for the wrong reason and with the wrong meaning, no matter how fancy the word is, this is where you can lose marks the quickest in the speaking section. So what happens if you don't remember a word for something that you want to share? You have a word that you think you know, but it just won't come to mind. It's not the perfect word and you can't think of it. Well, this is where you paraphrase. Instead of using one word to describe something, it may be necessary to use 2 or 3 words or a different phrase to express the same idea. But don't worry, because this may even give you the opportunity to display more of your ability when it comes to speaking in English. So let's take a look, and let me just give you some examples when it comes to answering some questions in the speaking section. So as you speak, you'll want to display different vocabulary. You won't want to be repetitive. You may want to use different verb tenses. Instead of just using simple past all the time, you may want to try and use present perfect or present simple and present continuous combined together. So let me just give you a few samples of how you can answer these questions. And these are at least a band 7 and above, so you can be sure that you'll be able to use these types of answers in your speaking section. Again, don't memorize these answers. Just learn from the example and the model that I'm going to give you. So for example, the examiner could ask me, do you enjoy celebrating your birthday? And so I could answer with something like this. As the years go by, I enjoy celebrating my birthday more and more. For example, recently my friends planned a surprise birthday for me, and it really caught me off guard. But it was so fun to know that they were thinking about me and had planned this special occasion for me. So I simply used a few different verb tenses, 2 or 3 sentences, but you'll notice I didn't use any fancy or academic vocabulary, and I'm sure that if your speaking ability is at an intermediate to high level, you'll have no problem using the same type of grammar and vocabulary. What did you usually do on your birthday when you were a child? Well, when I was a child, we usually just had family birthday parties where my grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins would come and celebrate my birthday. But once in a while, my parents would have a birthday party where they'd invite my friends from school, and they'd organize games and have a barbecue, and all my friends would bring a little gift, and I'd be able to open them and then even share a little gift with them as they left on their way home. And some of these birthday parties are the most memorable for me. So again, it's so easy just to share, because that was a real life situation from my childhood, and it was very natural and easy for me to share that idea and those thoughts and how I felt about that birthday party. Do you think the price of a present is important? Well, for me, it's the thought that counts. At least that's what I was raised with, and that's what my parents tried to tell me. So while it's important to think about how valuable a present is, the value is not in the cost of the present. It's the value is found in the The idea that someone thought about you, picked out something that they thought would be important and special for you and unique to you. And this goes a lot further for making me feel important and feeling special than the actual cost of a present. Now, in that answer, it wasn't perfect. I might have stumbled or hesitated a little bit. But what's most important is that you realize that one or two mistakes in expressions and grammar are not what are going to lose you marks. It's when you do those memorized and try to use fancy words and use them incorrectly, that's how you'll lose marks the fastest. Do you like the age you are now? Well, as I grow older and older, I realize that age is just a number. What's most important is how I feel and how I get along with my friends and family and how I make the most out of all the experiences that my life brings me. I hope you found this lesson helpful, and I want to wish you all the best as you continue to prepare for the IELTS exam.